November 2018, Russia openly attacked Ukraine for the first time in the Sea of Azov. The masks are off now. The enemy has moved from the "they're not there" phase to direct military aggression. But today Ukraine is much stronger than when Crimea and Donbas were taken from it. Our army and mobilization resources already have invaluable combat experience, as well as a quick mind for war to get to the front line. In April, I underwent a medical board. The aged surgeon noticed my scar. When I bought my patient records, he said that I needed rehabilitation for a year and that I wasn't being called up. Then, for 2 months, I came there not to face this old doctor to obtain medical clearance. I finally obtained it in August, when I got through another medical board in the space of 1 day. Serhiy Shymchak was born and raised in Lviv. In 2013, he got into a traffic accident. The injuries he received there prevented him from being mobilized and even volunteer work. But Serhiy took his own path. He entered the war zone to defend Ukraine as a member of the Volia territorial defense battalion. An unorthodox approach, cunning, erudition, and charis-ma became his main weapons. He also used these features to win the heart of his wife-to-be, Natalia. He was different from all those I had known before him. He wrote poetry and he is still romantic. And he thanks his grandfather for this. Everything he knows he got from his grandfather. He won me over through his simplicity. Serhiy Shymchak inherited not only character from his grandfather. Until the 7th grade, he had the surname Makhnovsky. For this name and for squirreling away provisions and ammunition, he got the call sign Makhno when in the ATO zone. I've had the nickname Makhno since my school days, and I still love it. When in the anti-terrorist operation zone, I always had everything, and in large numbers. After all, I thought not only about myself. Our number grew from 12 to 30. I had to supply them with everything. Grandfather Vasil Makhnovsky, as well as Serhiy's stepfather, saw in him a passion for precision weapons. Serhiy studied special literature and sniper rifles from an early age. He could easily distinguish a Remington 700 from Magpul and a Blazer from a Macmillan. And he'd go to shooting ranges and training grounds whenever he could to get practice. When Shymchak got to the east, he was appointed to perform the most elite but extremely dangerous job. One can be awarded for killing an enemy sniper. It's highly valued among senior officers. A sniper plays a key role in taking our senior officers remotely and disrupting the troop command system, which is the most important thing. A broken enemy troop command system is already 50% of victory. According to Serhiy, only Hollywood movies count eliminated enemies and notches on gun butts. But nobody among real combat snipers boasts of their successes. They simply do the sometimes dangerous, sometimes hard work of a sniper. Lying down not only in a puddle or in the snow can cause a cold or illness. In addition, it's necessary to wear camouflage, not drop in one's guard, and have vision acuity to accomplish a combat mission. Lviv's Robin Hood performed his combat mission in Luhansk region brilliantly. Among the military, Shymchak is known as one of the most top-performing Ukrainian snipers. But the specifics of this job damaged Serhiy's health. On one occasion, we returned from performing a combat mission and Serhiy came out. He was lying and resting in a dugout. And on the same day, fellow soldiers informed us that Makhno was paralyzed. Even I was surprised, but it was good that there were volunteers who evacuated him to the city of Severodonetsk. It was the first such case that had in this hospital. Immobilized Serhiy was later sent to Kharkiv, and only there was he diagnosed with having Guillain-Barré syndrome.
Это заболевание является аутоиммунным, то есть свои же клетки иммунитета атакуют.
It's an autoimmune disease, when immune cells attack the body's nerve endings. And it is a vicious circle, because the human body follows the rule that immune cells cannot attack the heart, brain, and nerve cells.
По статистике всего лишь 2 человека из 100 тысяч населения.
According to statistics, only 2 people out of every 100,000 suffer Guillain-Barré syndrome. Its second unique feature is the reversibility of processes. 70 to 80% of cases enjoy a full recovery, though in 15% of cases sufferers face residual disease or even disability.
Мы видим остаточные явления или даже инвалидизацию.
A serious malfunction of the body landed Serhiy in bed. His body was self-destructing.
Явления, которые нарастают, и примерно через 3 недели заболевание.
All the processes grow and grow, and after about 3 weeks the disease reaches its climax, which is expressed in weakness or paresis, as we call it in neurology. In severe cases, the patient cannot breathe or swallow or even open his eyes.
Или глотать. В тяжелых случаях он даже не может открыть глаза.
Supported by his wife, doctors, and rehab therapists, Serhiy made a slow recovery. But the severe residual disease made him learn how to walk, smile, move his hand, hold a spoon in his hands. Medical prognosis. When my wife asked the doctors if I would be able to walk, she was advised to ask God. That is what she was told. She told me this later on, and this hurt me a lot. If I'm told that I cannot do something, then I do the exact opposite. Who knows how this unspoken story would have developed if it were not for the Invictus Games. It's a kind of Olympics for the wounded, injured, or sick armed services personnel as a result of taking part in hostilities. Ukraine has been a member of the Invictus Games since 2017, and the story of fortitude and strong character of one of the leaders of the Ukrainian team put Serhiy back on his feet again. When I first tried to walk by using the Godman rail system, I heard about Vadim Sviridenko. He had no arms, no legs, but he ran. I thought that I was no worse, and then for the first time I started to work out in such a way that the rehab therapist would throw me out of the gym. Serhiy and Natalia returned to Lviv. He felt better, but couldn't make a full recovery. But inspired by the successes of Ukrainian athletes at the Invictus Games in Toronto, Shymchak made a resolute decision. He would restore his coordination and strengthen the pectoral girdle thanks to sports like archery. I thought that if God has still allowed you use of both arms and legs, then you can try something. Serhiy longed for this. His desire was crazy. It was evident that he needed an impulse, because he had both the desire and doubts. But when he got there, he felt euphoria. He was most likely still taking in the impressions for about 2 months. From impressions and delight, Serhiy Shymchak moved to action. In Lviv, he was introduced to a coach, Olena Palamarchuk. As it turned out, they were kindred spirits. He was told that he would never shoot. I asked him who and where said it. Such words as never, never cannot be uttered to me. We'll do everything slowly, little by little. It's quite natural that at first the bow and arrows fell out of the hands of the resident of Lviv. But this sport became a panacea for his disease. This was exactly the case when the number of shots was much more important than their quality.
И когда любое движение человек выполняет, происходит такая связь.
When a person makes movement, there is an impulse from the brain to muscle through a neuromuscular connection. The so-called muscular connection is formed. The brain sends a signal to perform a certain movement. The movement is performed and the nerves line up to this muscle, and the signal passes through.
К этой мышце, да, и проходит сигнал.
The results improved, and belief in his strength began to appear. Serhiy once again experienced such familiar feelings when a high-precision weapon became a continuation of his body, and he acted in one pulse rate.
Це тут, знаєте, чим техніка до...
A pure archery technique has certain similarities with that of firing a rifle. When firing, you count 3 heartbeats until it calms down, and then you shoot. And in archery, you take a shot in half a breath. You exhale a little, then fire, and exhale completely.
На полох, видиху, видихнув, вистріл, тоді до кінця вже видихнув.
With the passing of every day, he became more confident in archery, and his shooting skills brought him local victories on the shooting range and over his disease.
Він прийшов, сказав, мені можна ніж засунути в руку.
He came and said that he couldn't feel a thing when a knife was struck in his arm or leg. I didn't do any experiments, but it was really clear that he could not feel his parts. A month or month and a half passes, and he refused to shoot because of pain in his arm. I asked him once again about his arm. He really felt the pain in his arm. He really did feel his arm. These were the first signs of recovery.
Значить, почалося відновлення.
There are bow and arrows for training up arms and bicycle for legs. By improving coordination, Serhiy restored his cycling skills, so the round trip to training also brought great benefits on his road to recovery. A huge rush of blood goes to the soft tissues, and they work all the time. That is, when fibers in the muscle tissue are tired of working, then other recovered fibers start working and so on. And it turns out that we can get to use a huge number of muscles all the time, as we could not have used in any other type of work. The goal is determined, the work is done. Serhiy Shymchak went to Kyiv for the qualifiers for the national team at the 2018 Invictus Games. He met his fellow soldiers, who like him gave up their health for a higher purpose. Each of them worked individually for a long time and achieved certain success. Serhiy won medals in both archery and cycling.
Ви знову стали героями тоді, коли ви кинули виклик своєму болю.
You became heroes again when you challenged your pain, your wounds. A war actually hurts bodies, souls. Sometimes it completely changes the life lived before. But you've won even this war.
Яке було прожито до того, але ви перемогли навіть війну.
Sydney hosted the Invictus Games in 2018. By tradition, cycling competitions opened the games. Serhiy Shymchak was the 4th to finish, half a step from the bronze medal. According to our hero, great excitement and responsibility for the result had an effect on both the team and him.
This
word medal put pressure on everybody. A medal was very important. When foreign athletes tried to meet us, they noticed our isolation and fears. They walked around joking while we were tensed up. They even asked us to relax. We realized that it was just rehabilitation, but we were set up by everyone to win medals. Shymchak thought of medals even at the end of the competition, since our national team won medals every day. Lviv's Robin Hood was an unconditional favorite. Serhiy confirmed this status by winning a bright victory in qualification. But before the final rounds of shooting, Serhiy was not ready for pressure from the organizing committee and rivals, and in the individual competition he only got as far as the quarter-final stage. The team archery was the last chance to win a medal. Meet Andriy Usach, Maya Moskvich and Serhiy Shymchak on the shooting range. The coaching board decided that Serhiy would shoot first. The first shot is like a marker that sets the tone and the state for the team in the future. But during sparring, we trained individually and as a team. And we prepared ourselves so that the first shot is not a marker. The last shot also gives victory.
Команду тоже вот просто так не то, что там взять там 3-4.
It was not easy to select a team of 3 archers. To provide support and companionship, we put them in the following order. The first was Shymchak, then Maya and Usach. It was ideal for them. We tried to put them in different combinations, changing their places, but this option was the most ideal.
И они сплоченно работали.
The index and middle fingers pushed aside are known as the arrow sign, and it is not usual to speculate about it during archery tournaments. English archers captured by the French army had these fingers destroyed during the 100 Years' War. After it ended, the parties to the war long teased each other with this gesture. But the final day of the Invictus Games was marked with the gesture described above from the Danish national team to knock our best archer off his stride. There was a Danish archer. He was tall and he gave me this gesture and it really hurt me. Then I thought, I'll show you. Serhiy forgot that he was nervous. He was no longer nervous and he acted like a powerful ox. He did as he needed to. These actions had the opposite effect on the Scandinavians. Using provocations, the Danes, who were ahead 2-0, lost their confidence, while our team didn't give them a chance. Our opponents probably believed in their victory. They tried to cause small troubles. At the training camp, I focused on the psychological part of shooting. My athletes were ready for any situation. Shymchak, Moskvich and Usach started by leveling the score and then fully defeated their opponent in the finals, 6-2 in favor of the Ukrainian team. Our team is trying on the highest awards for size. The opponent admitted defeat, and the tallest archer from Denmark presented Serhiy with his pre-prepared winner t-shirt. And after we had pulled off this victory, the Dane ran after me for about an hour to give me this t-shirt. There was the inscription number 1 on the t-shirt, and he called me first. Australia is the country that has become a landmark for Serhiy. There, on the green continent, he established himself as invincible. Tattoo fan Serhiy Shymchak got the 5th ink done.
Я день думав, що я хотів зробити.
I thought about my new tattoo all day long. I saw the tattoo I am on Volia Rock's arm. I did not want to copy it, so to speak, so I decided to get a small upgrade with the inscription I am on a black background and wrote Invictus, which means I am invincible. Returning to his native Lviv, Shymchak continued to play sports. He knows that a real invincible can win and do everything. There's no such thing as, it will not work for me, or I cannot. Do not back down and never give up. Even the wildest dream can be turned into a goal and then into reality. I really want and will try to join the Ukrainian Paralympic team. I now want to represent Ukraine at the Paralympic Games. It's a kind of rush. And I can say that Sydney encouraged me, and the Invictus Games showed me how not to focus on issues and not to stop. Someone stopped playing sports after Invictus. As for me, I'm going to continue. I really want to learn professional shooting. In one interview, I said that my dream was to beat American archer Brady Ellison. On the path to victory over the world's greatest archer, Serhiy charges his friends and family through his will and character. Inspired by her father's life story, Yana Shymchak decided to try herself in archery, and Serhiy's comrades in arms saw a vivid example of how to keep the line under the blows of fate. According to my mom, I'm a Sagittarius by star sign, so archery must be my talent, and I decided to follow my father's example. His result is an example for others who do not feel stronger. Suicidal thoughts can appear in their heads, and it's wrong. I can say with pride that Makhno is a vivid example of how to fight for life, not to give up, and to take steps forward.
Махно – це яркий приклад тому, що треба боротися за життя, треба не опускати руки і крокувати вперед.
War never asks what we want. It takes decisions itself as to who should live, who should die. But it is in our power to withstand the blows and show the whole world that an irrepressible will to win can create a real miracle.